One.
Good evening and welcome to the Wallingford Board of Education Instructional Committee meeting. The day is January 6, 2025, and the time is 6 p.m. The first order of business is to accept the minutes from our meeting on December 2nd, 2024. Is there any discussion on the minutes or does anyone have any changes? Seeing none, at this time I will call on each member to to accept the minutes. The minutes have been, not yet. So, Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Doring?
Yes.
Dr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Regan?
Yes.
Ms. Rasashi?
Yes.
And Ms. Passaretti?
Yes.
Okay, now the minutes have been accepted and we'll move forward to our full board meeting for approval. Mrs. Latour, is there anyone waiting for public comment?
There is not.
So at this time, I'll turn it over to Mrs. Latour, who will present the proposed curriculum.
Okay, so this evening, one of our first agenda items is a course modification. This is from our ASTE program. We have a request for veterinary science 4 to go from a CCP 1 class to a dual enrollment class with Middlesex Community College. Currently, veterinary science is a 4-year pathway. Year 3 is currently a dual enrollment class with Middlesex Community College. The teacher and Rebecca Rose, the program coordinator, worked with Middlesex again for year 4, and our curriculum was accepted and will be eligible for community college credit beginning in the fall of 2025. Somebody's tired in this house, I guess. And so with the board's approval, we will make that change for fall of 2025. Are there any questions? No. Okay, so I just need consensus.
So at this time, we'll take consensus. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The course will now be moved to the full board meeting for final approval.
Great, thank you so much. That was my dog, by the way. I didn't want anyone to think that that was one of my children. So, the next part of our meeting is just policy. So we have a few adjustments to policy moving forward. The first one is policy 4112.53, employment and student checks. This particular policy was last updated in 2024, so we're back again. And what's included is some legislative changes. Language was added specifying that an applicant's previous employers are not required to disclose information about a substantiated allegation of abuse or neglect or sexual misconduct if the substantiation was reversed as a result of an appeal to the Department of Children and Families. So that's incorporated into policy language. We also clarified language regarding the Board of Education's responsibilities under the Fair Credit Reporting Act when deciding whether to take adverse actions against prospective employers, and we updated legal references. So this is just a straightforward legislative change. The language that was added was recommended by Shipman and Goodwin, and that is in reference to Public Act 2441. Any questions? Good. Okay. The next one is Family Medical Leave Act. This is back. And there are just a few quick changes that are also legislative. Language was changed to require boards of education to provide benefits equal to those provided by the Federal Family Medical Leave Act to non-certified employees, not just paraeducators, as is referenced in our current policy, who have been employed by the board for at least 12 months and worked at least 950 hours for the board in the previous 12 months. This is reflecting a change in the legislation, Section 18 of Public Act number 2441. The policy also has some clarified language that an employee's available accrued sick leave can run concurrently with unpaid FMLA. Technical edits were made as well as updated legal references. So again, this is in reference to Public Act number 2441. And the major change would be that it's not just paraprofessionals that can qualify. It is any non-certified employee who works for us for at least 950 hours in the previous 12 months of employment. Any questions? Okay. The next policy is policy 5112.2. This is our admission to public schools at or before age 5. There were some technical edits made in reference to legislation taking effect July 1 of 2024. Since that date is passed, we removed that date. We also just clarified that when requesting an early screening, it is to go to the school that's based on the attendance area that the child would go to. So it goes to, they just wanted to clarify that you couldn't request early entrance to kindergarten in any school within the district. It has to be to the school that you're districted to based on your neighborhood. And the regulation also follows suit with that. Do we have any questions about that? Okay. And then our last policy, excuse me, is a new policy. It is 7230.2, and this is regarding indoor air quality. So legislatively, this came through, and all schools are required to go through certain steps to monitor indoor air quality within the school buildings and district buildings, which our district has been doing. This policy is basically there for transparency purposes so that the public, our parents, our staff members can see what steps the district has to take that we're required to do in the order that we're required to do them, so that if there's any questions, people can just look right on our website and see what steps the district is taking. Next week on the ops agenda is an indoor air quality item as well, so we can inform the board of our progress to date. And Mrs. Passaretti, based on your comment at the policy committee, I did add some language to the schedule relief on page 3, just to clarify that, to make sure that everyone understands we're required to do 20% of the schools each year so that we have full compliance by the year 2030. Which
it was much more clear this second draft. So thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions? Mrs. Rosacci.
I can't let a meeting go without asking a question. No, I'm just
I know. Well, this could be the fastest meeting on earth.
I know, right?
So I hope it's an easy one.
Just really quickly. Yeah, I think it's very easy. It's really just, is there a way, or have you guys thought about structuring the reports for this so language could easily be pulled out of this for grant applications? So like you're structuring how we're writing the reports for each of the schools in the air quality, so we could like pull language from that to potentially insert into a grant application.
I'll let Mrs. Belizzi answer that one because she's working with Mark Deptula on the actual reports. So okay. I don't know how they're written offhand.
So we've already gone through, and we'll talk about it more at the operations meeting, but we've already gone through and done all the tools for schools ones because that had to be done by the end of December. And that was a specific checklist that was given to us that we have to follow. And so if you go on our district website, you'll see even underneath each school, they listed it in 2 different places, but I'm thinking school wise, if you go under about, it'll take you to a link and it says tools for schools down at the bottom. And it takes you to all of the spreadsheets for each school. Each school is listed individually. Those were checklists that we had to follow. Right. Those are what was given to us. We just retyped it in a format that was available to all of us to be able to use and access and then be able to put onto our website, which is required. And so the findings from that are out there already. And so we'll get into next steps for that. The tools for schools piece, which involve the team, has to be done every year. The next component to this, which is the HVAC inspection piece, which is the 20% each year, they did move that back and it has to be done every 5 years. So it's 5-year period starting on July 1 of 2026 and through 5 years on from that. So Mr. Deptula can speak to the exact framework of what that's going to look like. But I think when we have outside people come in and do those inspections, which we've budgeted for 20% each year, we're actually going to be starting, or we put it in the budget for this coming school year for 25-26 to get us started. I'm not sure what that format looks like. I'm sure that's going to be very prescribed as to exactly what these outside vendors have to look for to move forward to do.
Yeah, I was just thinking if we could potentially save some time in any way and also sort of answer to some of the criticism we've received about not applying for HVAC grants, that potentially if we could set something up that would serve a dual purpose, I think it would be advantageous.
I agree with you, absolutely. And so that is definitely something I'll follow up with Mr. Deptula about from now until we meet again next.
That'd be
Monday.
great.
Yes.
Carrie, never hide hugs from your teenage children. I mean, come on. It's like a gift.
He just said that to me. He just said that. He's
I
like,
know.
apologize because I gave a hug.
Very
Yeah.
insulted.
No, you could give hugs anytime. That's very sweet. It's a teenager, so you got to
I
embrace that.
know it.
All right, that's it.
Thank you. Okay, that's it.
Okay, so having no more business to attend to, we'll adjourn the meeting. The time is now 6:12.
Excellent.
That
Thank
was
you, everybody.
great. Maureen, that
guys.
was great.
Good job, Maureen. All right.
Fantastic. I give
You'll
you all
have-
the credit.
You'll have to run more meetings, Maureen.
We whipped right through that. Thank you, everybody. I
Bye.
appreciate it. Thank you. Have a
Bye.
great night, everyone.